Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another video. Now this one's a little bit different than anything else that I really do because today we're going to be talking something other than Dragon Ball, and that is, at least for today, is The Walking Dead. And what I want to actually get with this is basically that, you know, me and the people I talk to on Skype or through Twitter or YouTube or something, the people I've met, we all have like these ridiculous passions for other things other than Dragon Ball, and I feel like a lot of us kind of get into this little, you know, it's just circle of conversation for Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball, because not only is it like what drives our channels, but it also drives basically the thing that connected us and interest and everything else. So basically this is kind of my outlet that I want to actually start putting out content about other things that I really like in talking about and just thinking about, theorizing about, or just discussing in general, and bringing on people who have that same passion, have that same drive, that fandom and everything else. So if you like what we do with Dragon Ball, you like what we just come on, have like interesting discussions about this, that, or the other. If you like that stuff, you like these other series, I hope you really enjoyed this stuff that I'm going to start trying to bring to my channel here in the next couple weeks. But anyway, with that being said, let's get right to this topic. Hey guys, and welcome back to my first ever...
Hey guys!
Hey guys! Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to my first... Welcome back. That's ridiculous. No, okay guys, welcome back. God, I can't even, like, I am so used to saying that. Guys, this is my first ever Walking Dead video on this channel. Hopefully the first of many, many to come, also with the Saul franchise and everything else, if you heard that beginning. Anyway, today I'm joined by two awesome YouTubers, two of my favorite YouTubers, actually. First off, we got World King Kanji. Kanji, why don't you say hello?
Hey guys!
Hey guys!
Welcome back to another Walking Dead discussion video.
And then we also have MJ from Geekless TV. MJ, what's up?
Hello.
Hey guys!
Anyway, guys, so today we're going to bring you all something a little bit different. I hope everyone watching this actually enjoys this and everything that we're actually talking about. But first, today, I want to bring up the first Walking Dead video on this channel. Hopefully, like I said, more to come. But I want to talk about after we saw that brutal... if you think it's brutal, I mean, I didn't really think it was brutal, but the brutal opening of Season 7 of The Walking Dead. And no, we're not reviewing it. We're going to be discussing something that kind of stems off of stuff that we've actually seen after the premiere of that episode. And basically, how long is this show actually going to run for? Now, before I'm going to let these other guys talk, I do have to say that, like, back in, I guess, like 2014, was it? You know, the series was about 3 years old, going into its fourth season, and the AMC CEOs were talking about, you know, we're still going to be talking about Walking Dead in 2022. And I'm sitting there going, that's going to be 12 years old. This series cannot keep going that long, because basically all it is at this point is Rick and co. go find salvation, something weird happens or something really ridiculous happens, and they're back on the road until they find another salvation. And throughout the way, they just kill all the cannon fodder at this point. So, like, I'm thinking, like, how long is this really going to go on? I know they've been in Alexandria. I know the comics are basically never ending. I know that it's just a story about survival in general, and they're going to keep killing off, like, certain main cast members or people that we really feel very sorry for. No spoilers for this. Actually, you know, we'll get into spoilers for the last episode, but personally, I want to just have this one conversation about how long do you think this show is going to go on? Probably, you know, how do you think it could possibly end? Or is there life after this particular show, you know, with Fear the Walking Dead or anything after that? So, guys, what do you think? Kanji, what do you think?
I mean, personally for me, like, I was a really big fan of this series to begin with. Like, the first 4 seasons, I was, like, you know, an avid fan. I would watch every episode as it aired in its original form, and I would make sure that I was up to date with absolutely everything. I couldn't go a week if I'd missed it, kind of thing. You know, I'd have to stay up and watch it just in case it got spoiled for me on Facebook or something the next day. These days, I'll be honest with you, if it wasn't for that last episode that has just been on, I've really had no interest in it. The 5th and 6th seasons have really been, like, a bit... I mean, because I watched the 5th season and I just lost interest. I mean, all that stuff with Beth and the hospital and everything was just kind of, ugh. Like, you know, it was the slowest moving show that I think has ever been going from something that was so amazing originally. And a lot of people complain that the first and second seasons were really slow moving, and some people do feel that. But I am quite a fan of the build of so many of these things, and I mean, if they're going to take it slow and do a couple more seasons or something, but they're going to build something like they did with Shane's character and everything, and how they turned it into this amazing build up and everything, then I'm all for that. But the way that they're going currently, I just. I just don't think it's going to last. Just simply because when you listen to what they're doing with the characters, I mean, like you got to listen to the feedback, and everybody's kind of watching it and thinking, okay, well, they're not going to kill Rick off because he's he's like kind of like the face of the show. If they kill him off, the show's just going to plummet. And then if they kill Carl off, then it's just going to be all kind of weird. And realistically, I mean, there's only a few more characters they can kill off than anybody gives a crap about, but if they kill them off, then they're going to stop people coming back to it and get the fandom angry and everything. And the problem is, they're relying on a lot of these characters to keep the show going, because it's definitely, as you were saying earlier, it's the fact that they keep recycling the same kind of story progression and everything like that isn't what's keeping people around. It's the characters that keep people around, which is why building them up is so important. Anyway, that aside, I personally don't think that it can go for too much longer. I don't feel like it should have gone as long as it has done, to be honest. But if they can change up the writing on it, then I don't see why it'd be an issue.
MJ?
First of all, anyone who thinks the second arc or second season is slow, then I feel bad for them when they watch that Beth arc, man. They probably thought time stopped or something for that shit. But, anyways, I don't see it going that much longer at all. I've actually talked to a friend earlier, and she was telling me that she thinks this is probably the last season. Like, she thinks it's all going to climax in this season. Yes, we know
they already got, not to interrupt you, but they already got greenlit for season 8, so that's...
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
But anyways...
Well, that's my discussion.
Well, I was just saying, anyways, when I had to text her that because she texted me this whole thing, right? But anyways... I was actually hoping they would do that because, to be honest, I'm with Kanji on this. I don't think it should have gone as far as it has. And the fact that they keep recycling the same story progressions both of you guys mentioned, the only reason I think people are watching this show now is to see if their favorite character is going to live or die or not. And
yeah,
it's like, I don't like how they handled this recent episode. I'm just going to say that. I don't like how they handled this recent episode. And to be honest, I really do not want to see it go any longer than season 8. I really don't hope we get some greenlit on season 9 in the next few months or some shit like that, because it should not have gone as long as it has. Great. It's great, though. Don't get me wrong. I love watching the first 3 seasons. I love the whole ultimate heel turn of Shane. They really did his character justice in the TV show compared to the comics.
Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah, they really did do him well, and I loved him as an actor portraying that character. So don't get me wrong, I love the first 3 seasons or arcs, but after the 5th season, it's slowed down. The 6th season, it was really only good if you're a Rick fan. If you're a hardcore Rick fan, then you probably like season 6, but I don't think it should really go on as long as it has. And yeah, I don't see this going on after season 8. It has to end after season 8, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
especially if they're going to keep recycling the same story progression.
I mean, if I can kind of chuck what I was saying into you guys earlier about this, I mean, like, obviously we know that Robert Kirkman once upon a time said he was never going to reveal what the virus or whatever it was, the plague from God or whatever he believed it was going to be when he wrote it. He was saying that he was never going to reveal what it is that infects everybody. And because of that, it's almost kind of like, it says to me that we're never going to get a definitive end to the story unless it just, unless it just stops, and they're just going to get to that one episode where they get cornered and they just hit that one walker, and or somebody dies and they just don't get back up as a walker or something. And they're like, what? I guess it's all over then, and all the walkers just collapse or something like that, and it will be the most anticlimactic ending to a series in history. Not to mention something that will have gone on for almost 8 seasons at the time, and so for me, the problem is with this thing, they've written themselves into a corner because they've got no way of satisfying every viewer of the series in a way that could really wrap this thing up, because it's not going to have a definitive ending, because we've not got anything, and the comics haven't obviously ended yet and don't seem to be showing any signs of ending anytime soon. And for that reason, if they can't just keep dragging the TV show on. That's no reason to keep a TV show dragging on. I'm sorry, but I'm going to use Lost as an example. You can't go in and write something without knowing where you're going to go with the story. It's just bullshit. You don't do that. You have a story in mind with a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then you add bits in between it. But as long as you follow the same linear direction you're going in all along, you're fine. But, sorry, rant over anyway.
No, I personally feel like, just kind of taking both of what y'all said. First of all, I feel like the current showrunner, his name escapes me, and I'm very sorry. If you guys know who that guy's name is, off the top of your head, or look it up, tell me in the comment section below. But anyway, I'm pretty sure they said that they're at least going for 10 seasons. Now, I'm not a huge fan of that. I do feel like it's probably better ending at the top rather than letting it drag on until it becomes kind of a joke, or more of a joke than it already is. But personally, based off of anything, if y'all know the comics at all, y'all know kind of to where we're leading. And, super spoilers here for the most part, but, for the most part, we're leading to a war. I mean, like a straight up, like hundreds of people in terms of war against Negan's people and Rick's people. And I feel like, where that kind of hinges on the comics, that would have been almost a perfect ending point, because in the comic books they have just kind of this huge time skip. It's like 3 years later, I can't necessarily remember off the top of my head, but things have changed. Everyone's kind of a little older, and new relationships and everything. And for me, if they're going to do that, then that might be just the perfect place to allow the series to end with, we took care of the biggest, baddest threat that we've ever faced, and Alexandria still holds, and, we're just kind of, everything's gonna be okay. And personally, if I were to pitch my ending, I feel like, and Kirkman might not do this when he gets to the comic books, I'm sure there's going to be a difference somewhere in there, but I personally feel like they were going to actually, it'd be cool to see Rick die before the end of it, or Rick die before we get to that peace and salvation. It's the Noah story, or the Moses story, just termed like lead your people to salvation, lead your people to like the peaceful end and everything. And then you don't necessarily get to see it yourself, but your offspring do, and your people do. And that's kind of his journey, I think, if more than anything, because honestly, out of all the characters that we've kind of seen throughout this show, he's the one who holds the most weight. He's the one who has gone through the most depth in terms of his own character. I got a Carl. Yeah, like it's to me, like to me, I feel like that would be somewhat of a perfect ending. Now, can they drag it on for 12 seasons? I think they can. I mean, as long as people keep watching, and as like we already said, I'm pretty sure they got like 17.03 million people watching this last episode. It's the second highest rating in the series history. Obviously, the cliffhanger had something to do with that, and basically, what happened is going to keep people talking. But I just thought that this was an interesting conversation to have, simply because even though the last episode was shocking to a degree, I feel like we're past the point where this is just kind of
going through the motions.
It comes and goes, and we're like, it comes and goes, and a lot of that is their fault. If I can go on a little other tangent with this, a lot of this is their fault, because, like I said, I don't want to necessarily get into spoilers, but when we have this huge cliffhanger as a chance, and it seems like more than anything, if this was kind of a mini review of the last episode, it seems like more of an apology than it was like an actual idea of where they were going. And now they've said that they've planned this out for 2 years. They wanted to do it this way. They wanted to have this ending be this way. But personally, it feels like they ended on this thing. It pissed everyone off. And then they come back and it was like, well, we'll kill this person just so we can kill this person. And everyone's shock and awe. But to me, I'm just sitting there going, I waited 6 months for this or something. And I wanted to feel something more than what I felt. And a lot of that is their fault with dicking around with Glenn for the last 2 fucking seasons.
Yeah. I mean, too many fake ones.
2 fake outs, plus everything else that he's come through this entire show. just kill him or don't kill him. It would have been so more heart-wrenching for him to have died in season 6 the way that we all thought he did, instead of them doing what they've done. And killing off Abraham has no emotional weight either, because he's the most likely person to die in the entire series, because it's a simple, like, not only do they go Veeks and valleys, or mountains and valleys or something, but they have, it's written on the wall when anyone's going to die. As long as they're happy, they're dead.
Yeah. Because that's almost like the end of their character arc.
And Abraham at the end of season 6 was the happiest person in the group. So you're sitting there after that cliffhanger going, it has to be him.
Yeah, it has to be. Kanji will get this joke if he's watched any Jim Cornette interviews, and I'm sure he has. This whole episode, as far as direction, was a freaking clusterfuck, man. And it's like the only thing that really saved that episode for me is Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I loved him as Negan. That's really the only thing that saved the actual episode for me, in terms of just wanting to sit there and watch it, because I just wanted to sit there and watch that guy act. You know what I mean? That guy was just pretty good.
I was exactly the same watching John Bernthal as Shane. Like, I didn't care what he did. I was quite happy for him to kill everybody in the camp if he decided to, and then just end the show at season 2. I was perfectly happy with that.
It would have been good. I know they wanted to do, but there are certain things. I feel like the show needs to kind of start diverging a little bit away from the comics. I know they've been wanting to be a little bit more faithful to them going forward, but I feel that they need to not do that. Well, just because they need to start getting into their own and working up to their own particular ending.
Well, the other issue that I've got with them dragging this on any longer than it has to go is simply for the fact that the actors aren't getting any younger either. I mean, Carl is getting so much older than he's supposed to be.
He's only supposed to be like a year and a half older.
Yeah, and he's oh my God, he's going to be. Forgive me if I'm already behind on this, but I mean, he's going to be taller than Rick soon. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Andrew Lincoln's not the tallest guy in the world, so I mean, like, it's not going to take long for him to be like, above his height, and then everyone's just going to be a bit like, "You're not being faithful to the comics. Chop off his shins or something."
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, like, let's be honest. When they hired him for season 1, he was already pushing 40 at the time, and he has aged considerably over the last few seasons, which kind of helped the look of the stress and everything. But when they shaved his beard and everything like that to try and make him look he'd got a bit more kempt and everything like that to try and make him look a little younger again. It didn't quite work because of all the grey.
Yeah, I mean, it is actually interesting. I think that works for his character, but I agree. They are getting a little bit old for this shit.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit hard to believe at this point now. Again, because obviously, I mean, like, you're just going to sound like I'm riding Shane's dick at the moment, but obviously John Bernthal had the look of somebody who was going to survive in that world and everything, and that was obviously the point of the comics. Rick was never supposed to be this, sort of, tough, like, almost like Abraham, who was never supposed to be that guy. But now it's getting to the point where he's getting so old that it's kind of becoming so unbelievable that it's becoming kind of painful to watch in some ways, if you know what I mean. And I'm not hating on it because I do appreciate it. I'm just kind of saying if they drag it on for too long, it's going to get very unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't see this going on for another freaking 5-6 years. That's going to be ridiculous.
But
yeah, tell me about it.
I'm going to leave with this. But at the same time, to me, I like the fact that they all look a little bit older. I know like the in terms of like our actual time passing and the time that they've done this or was supposed to have passed in the show, like at this point, like what, 2 years, something, 2.5 years, close to. They could do a time skip. They could start diverging from the story and start building up their own personal conclusion, whether it's going for 8 seasons, 9 seasons, 10, 12, wherever they're going to end up. But one of the things I think is, like Kanji said at the beginning of this video, is the ratings are starting to fall pretty heavily last season. And personally, I felt like last season was one of the better ones in a couple of years, but ratings are starting to fall. Yeah, if you're a Rick fan.
If you're a Rick fan.
Like, ratings are starting to fall.
The overall season, I wouldn't say it was that great, though. But that's just me.
Starting to fall. And personally, I feel that the only reason that is not only is it like kind of mundane at this point, they keep saying the same things over and over and over again, but at the same time, AMC is doing it no favors when it's actually having, when it makes Fear the Walking Dead and we have Walking Dead. There's no wait. It's on most of the year. Walking Dead, new content of Walking Dead is on basically the entire year, and they're saturating their own market. Plus, with everyone else doing zombie content, it's kind of amazing that it's lasted as long as it did. Personally,
I mean, I feel bad for saying, but I mean, like, the Telltale games actually got me more interested than
I'm pretty sure
the series for quite a while, just because feel the same way about that. Yeah, I mean, the Telltale games, like, they don't go from anything from the comic. They go in their own direction, and they're done to a degree where you actually end up caring so much for the characters that are there. So, and they're not afraid to kill off all the characters you like, because it's a game, and for some reason games feel like they can do that a lot easier than a TV
you have
show
to come
can.
back. People come back for certain characters. There's a reason they haven't killed off Daryl at this point. I mean, like, he's a good character.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but you get into that thing you were saying earlier where they almost at this point, even though certain things, they almost can't kill off a handful of characters. Be it they can't kill off Carl, Rick, Carol, Daryl, or Michonne at this point, and also Maggie. At this point, you can't kill off Maggie. So there's a lot to be said, and I feel like they just need to keep pushing forward at this point, because obviously there's more story to tell. But in my opinion, it might be best for AMC after season 8, in my opinion, to find an ending point for this series and then continue on with things like Fear the Walking Dead and other spin-offs, where they can explore more of the things that Kanji was talking about at the beginning of this video, where even though Kirkman isn't going to explain how the virus started and have this big, better story like the government that's going on or something, this show is about survival and only survival, but they can start making spin-offs about the greater world and the inner workings of that world. And even if The Walking Dead doesn't end with everyone dying and just being kind of devoured by zombies, then that still leaves the door open for crossovers and, maybe even TV movies or even movies in general to bring in old characters from all these different spin-offs and stuff and have them work in tandem with all these other characters that they introduced in the spin-offs or the movies or something, and allow the brand to survive without tarnishing this particular show, because it has had a very long and successful run up into this point, and it would be really kind of a shame to see something like this. It's like, even though it is kind of mundane and completely just kind of telling the same thing over and over again, run into the ground, because it's been kind of perplexing just to watch, just sitting there and just being, utterly involved with what you're watching and being enthralled with it.
Whoa, guys. I just got a notification through on my phone. Apparently, AMC has spent 1.6 million making a Walking Dead.
They love it. They love it. It's their baby. It's their baby.
Oh my God, that means we're going to be getting Walking Dead for the next 20 years at least.
But my point...
So much more, Rick! Sorry, guys, that's not
my bad. I'm sorry.
In case a couple of you out there think I'm being serious, I'm not.
I don't think anyone's going to get that. But... I guess, they probably should. But,
do you have a lot of
guys,
Dragon Ball
personally,
subscribers?
that's what I feel. I feel like they need to just they need to find a graceful ending for this show while keeping the brand alive. I think the brand is strong if they find bigger, better stories to tell outside these particular characters. And it's not just survival all the time. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on just to agree with me. That's
agreed.
Anyway, guys, this has been a little bit longer than I actually wanted to, but I think we made some really good points. Tell me what you think about this particular kind of discussion topic, or what you want to see. Because we like a lot of things. We can talk about a lot of things. We can talk other than Dragon Ball or anime, so we would like to in the future. But anyway,
Hey guys, remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and definitely leave a hashtag Walking Dead room if you wanted to go on for another 20 years.
Guys, please, if you like, okay, I know this is about Walking Dead.
Hashtag Walking Dead room.
Jay and Working Kanji, they both cover Dragon Ball content. If you like Dragon Ball content, please make sure to go over there and subscribe to them because they both do really awesome stuff. You know, like a lot of people in this community just don't do. They don't kind of put out the exact same stuff that everyone else puts out. So please make sure to go follow them if you like Dragon Ball. And you're going to see them back on my channel to cover Walking Dead or other things in the future. So please make sure to rate, comment, subscribe, just like Kanji said. And we're going to catch you on the next Walking Dead video, next Dragon Ball video, next any video. Anyway, guys, y'all have a nice day. Bye.
Hey guys.
Bye, guys. Kenji just making fun of me all the time.
Bye, guys. Sorry.